Hey!
Here we are back in the Snarf Talk studio.
Maybe for a second time. We don't know.
We don't know. The first time we thought we were recording live, but we don't know if it was live or not.
Yeah.
It didn't come up on my Facebook page, and normally I've got Facebook rocking and rolling in front of me.
Rocking and rolling down to the tent we're going.
Yeah.
We were live because now I can see it, and
you can?
I can see our first one. So sorry about that. If you hopefully you rejoin us. It was only a minute.
Yeah, it was 1 minute. I never got a notification. Normally I get a notification right away.
Yeah.
Instantaneously, Facebook will tell me when Snarf Talk is live, which they should.
So anyway, as we were saying,
yeah, what I was saying was, what was I saying? Wait, I had a whole monologue I was getting into about something. Oh man, this is aggravating.
Okay, now I got her fade. We were live. We're back.
I wonder what happened.
I don't know. We're back. We're here. We're a day late. We're an hour late. We're late.
$6 short.
All
We're
that
just
good
late. Oh, I remember now. I was saying our demographic are people that are of our same age and season of life.
Yes.
And they're not going out. You know, they're sitting at home on a Friday night and they need something to do. They're like, we're sick of talking to our significant others and we just need something to escape with.
Yeah.
And that's us. We're here at 9 o'clock, 9:13, and you can escape with Snarf Talk into a world that is only ours. You know, like just
a never-ending story.
Yeah. Falcor.
Dude, we need to put that on Snarf Talk homework. Speaking of Snarf Talk homework, if you've been following along with us, the homework for this 2-week stretch.
Next week, yeah. Next week.
We do next show, which should be Thursday night next week, is
Maybe.
The Phantom.
It is the Phantom.
The Billy Zane epic.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The Billy Zane
And I
epic.
started it the other night. I did fall asleep.
You did?
But I did start watching it. I was rather...
Let down?
No, I was rather surprised at the production value. It was pretty decent.
That gets me excited.
It has a real Indiana Jones vibe to it. And then a big purple
guy in
eggplant shows
latex, right? I've never seen it. I've never watched it. I've seen the pictures of what the Phantom looks like.
But yeah. So that will be our homework for next week. That's what we're watching. Last week we did our review of the homework. That was The Running Man. I highly recommend you go back and watch that.
Agree.
And then go back and listen to our review.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. It really was. I'm not holding out the same kind of hope for the Phantom, but we'll see. But we're going to put Never Ending Story on the list.
I think that would be a really good one. Because I cried so hard when that horse died.
A horse dies? Oh, man. I don't remember it at all.
Oh, my gosh. Gets stuck in that pit. The pit of despair.
Oh, my gosh. That's exciting.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's terribly sad.
Nolan's with us. He's cleaning bathrooms.
And he definitely needs an escape.
Yes.
Which we will give you. You can live in our world that is fantasy.
Yeah.
This is a world that we create on our own to escape our own lives.
If Dirk's still with us, hey Dirk, did you ever plant anything?
Oh yeah. Did you ever get your planter together and put seeds in the ground?
When I finished, he said his was still in pieces in the shop floor.
Yeah, that's rough.
We'll see.
That's a rough go.
We are today like full force, starting to put on nitrogen.
You want it to be full force.
I want it to be full force. I can't keep any of this junk running, Jerry.
I know.
I can't do it.
Listen, you told me a month ago you should have bought a new one. And now you're telling me, man, I should have bought a new one.
I can't deal with this junk anymore. Everything I get in is garbage. Yesterday, I had to go hook up the old planter because I wanted to finish planting sweet corn.
Oh, okay.
But there was 3 things parked in front of it in the shed. And then
who did that?
And then one thing outside the shed parked in front of it. Okay. Before this, I wanted to hook up my nitrogen tanker.
Yeah.
Go in the semi, completely dead. All right. Scratch that idea. I'm going to hook up the planter.
Yeah.
4 separate things I got into to move were all dead.
Oh my gosh. How is that possible?
I don't even know. I feel like there's a conspiracy at this point in my life. When you get in 5 separate vehicles that are all dead,
so
and in front of where you need to be working,
this is funny.
It's like a conspiracy at that point.
I watch the Millennial Farmer on YouTube. We've talked about him before. Minnesota Millennial Farmer. And every time he gets in a piece of equipment, it is dead.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing. And he's even put in shut-off switches, like literally like cut-off switches that cut the battery off from everything else. And he turns them off. And then he turns it back on, gets in the equipment, tries to start it, and they never start. I don't understand how this is a thing. Is farm equipment just not very good at electrical?
Well,
I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know. Most things I don't typically have huge. My semis are always dead. I got some kind of a phantom power draw, and
you need to take all of the stereos out of them.
I just need to figure that out, and I've been trying to figure that out I've been gonna figure that out for like 3 years now.
I've been gonna do that.
So anyway,
okay. So did you plant sweet corn then?
I did. I finished planting sweet corn. Yep.
Took you 6 hours to get the equipment out, but you did it.
I mean, it's a super important thing, but yeah. I mean, it didn't take me long, but
it's important to me.
Yeah. So I finished planting sweet corn. I still got to plant some beans, putting on nitrogen.
Yeah. I mean, not very many beans.
No, maybe like 10 to 20 acres.
Is it that many?
There's a lot this year.
Wow, that seems like.
But it's a real mess. I don't even know how it's going to work. So I'm planting beans in a nursery.
Uh-huh.
All right. And it's where we just removed trees this spring.
So there's big holes.
Big
holes.
2 to 3 foot deep holes in rows in these areas, right? So that's always been the challenge, is like figuring out what to do with that. So this year I tried a new approach. I took the tree planter, which is essentially just a big, makes a big trench.
Yeah.
That you put the trees in.
It's almost like a tile boot.
Yeah, it's like a boot. And then it's got scrapers on the back angled so that it pushes the dirt back in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm just going to run down just like I'm planting trees, and it's just going to fill it all back in. It'll be solid gold.
Sounds good.
Yeah, well, it kind of made it so now there's trenches because all that soil's loose, right? So you sink down in there. So it's like a washboard.
Yeah.
And then in between, there is grass, that's been planted for years.
Yeah.
So that peels up like sod. So I got from a neighbor a different implement. It's a chisel plow, but it's a little more beefy than the crappy little one that I have.
Oh, really?
And it's got 4-inch twisted shanks on it.
Twisted shanks?
Yeah.
What do those do?
They're supposed to turn over the soil a little bit.
So like the shovel on the end, the shank is twisted?
The shank goes down, and then you bolt onto that the chisel points. And they're basically little plows that kind of come up at an angle.
Oh, they're an angle. Okay.
Yeah. And it's got some straight discs on the front. Anyway, so I thought this was going to be amazing. So I hit those spots
good.
5 or 6 times.
Okay.
Just beat the shit out of the ground. But what that did was leave
really
knee deep grooves.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're doing it into sod. So it's just peeling up these little 8-foot long things of sod that are just floating in the air. They look like confetti snakes going off. It's like when you open one of those cans and the snakes pop out.
Yeah.
That's everything behind this chisel plow that's going through of sod. And I'm just looking at it. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to be able to plant anything into this.
Right.
So then I just went out tonight with the disc to try and beat it down. I disced it down 5 times.
Did that do anything?
Yeah, it helped a lot.
It did?
Yeah, I think if I let it get a rain on it and then maybe hit it with a field cultivator.
I was just going to say, you got to come over it with a field cultivator to level it out, right?
It's still full of chunks of sod, but
they'll rot away. Plan into it, man. You already planted into sod once this year.
And they're all up.
Oh, they are?
Looks great. Planted into a hayfield.
No kidding?
Yeah.
And it's coming up.
No till.
Wow. Do it again. Into the random chunks of sod.
Dirk said Moldboard Plow. Yeah, I know. That's an option. I didn't have one kind of handy this year, So I'm going to work on getting one like over the summer. I have one. It's just really old.
Oh, you do? Oh, who would have thought? It's really old.
And I don't know how worthy it is of actual use.
But Dirk also said we did, meaning he did get planted. And it worked.
He said he's got 300 left of corn.
Oh,
and
not
400
finished.
beans. Cultimulcher. Yeah, I've used one of those in the past. I don't have one. I borrowed one from a neighbor.
What is a cultimulcher?
I guess I don't know exactly what that is. I use what's called a cultipacker. I'm not sure if
I've heard of a cultipacker, but I still don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, it's the same thing. Or similar looking thing. It's basically just like a roller with...
Shovels?
No, not shovels. Like spiky... Like a...
Tines?
You ever see at a construction site those rollers, but they have like the spikes on the rollers?
Oh, yes.
It's like...
Many
that.
of those.
Yes, yeah. But small.
Angled.
It's just basically heavy and it beats everything down.
But are they... They're angled?
No.
No?
No. It's like a roller... A cultimulcher looks like a little more aggressive than a cultipacker, but...
Okay. You need that then.
I do, actually. That would probably work really
All right,
well.
Dirk, if you got one, bring it up here. Chris needs it for the nursery.
I mean, you know what would work great is like a big-ass rototiller. That would work.
That would work.
I've
really
used
good.
one in the past. We had one that we used to borrow from a neighbor.
A big one?
Yeah, big one.
They make big...
Oh, yeah. They make big ones. This was a big
Rototillers?
one.
Huh. Well,
This was like
then
a
just
20
borrow that again.
Was like a 20-footer or something.
Yeah, just do that again.
It's not to be found anymore.
That seems
I
like
don't know
you'd have to have
what happened to it.
a really big tractor in order to run something like that.
It wasn't 20 foot, but it was pretty good
I was
size.
going to say, 20 foot seems like the PTO would have to be real beefy.
Yeah. So the cultimulcher or cultipacker that I used to use, Dirk, yes, the wheels would pick it up like inches off the ground, and it takes up the entire road, and they're huge and deep.
Because he says they don't travel
And
well.
they're very tippy because the wheels are in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous thing.
Really?
Yes.
It sounds awful.
No, I mean...
They don't fold at all.
No. Not the one I had. But I'll be honest, I didn't have great results with that. So I don't think that... It didn't really work in my circumstance. There's lots of clods.
But you would think that it would beat those down. Like,
I don't know.
into the
Maybe the
ground,
one I
and then
had
you could
just wasn't
plant right
heavy
through
enough.
them.
Maybe the one I had just wasn't heavy enough. You need heavy stuff. Anyway, the disc is working pretty well.
Listen, I've got a bunch of cinder blocks.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
We can stack those on top.
It'll be just like when we did your yard.
Yes. You can sit on the back.
I drilled grass seed into Jerry's yard with a little cedar,
It's super dry,
but it was so dry and hard that it wouldn't even do anything. It wouldn't put the seed into the ground. So
just basically laid on top.
we decided to drag it with a pallet behind his Polaris. Right?
Yeah.
And
Worked great.
that wasn't working.
It did end up working. I had some cinder blocks on top of a pallet. The problem was the cinder blocks wouldn't stay on the pallet because I was turning too fast and they'd roll off. I tried slowing down. They still fell off. And Chris was like, you know what? I'll just sit on the pallet. He's like, I won't roll off. I said, man, that sounds like a great idea. And he did. He sat on the pallet and I drug him around in my yard. And I tell you what, best grass I've ever
Worked
grown.
great. Looked beautiful.
It did.
I got a face full of dirt for
you
an
were
hour and a half, but
covered in dirt. That was one of the best ideas you've ever had. And like you said, because Jamie was talking about, your brother-in-law was talking about planting grass. Like, this was, I think, last year. I don't remember when it was now, but he was talking about planting grass, and he's like, it's way too late for that. And you're like, Jerry did it. He's like, he did it in like almost June and planted grass. It was super dry, and it came up beautifully.
yeah.
But Jamie wasn't thinking about dragging you around on a pallet.
No, that's what it takes.
That was the secret.
Dirk's right. Weather and catching the soil when it's just right makes a difference. Yes. So when I was doing it with the cultipacker, it was bone dry. I mean, so dry. It probably would work better right now because it's pretty fluffy out there.
Moist.
Yes.
That's the word you wanted to say.
Moist.
You
Yeah.
wanted to say that word.
So anyway, but that also, the disc is working pretty well.
Well, hopefully it works out for you.
But I do need a cultimulcher. Bring me one, Dirk.
So you're saying if you don't get one of those, and if the disc doesn't work, your entire farming career is ruined.
No, it's 10 acres of cover crop beans.
Right. So it doesn't really matter.
But
Just
I do
throw the freaking beans in the ground, Chris.
I do know a
Throw
guy
'em in.
north of Morris that has a 20-foot rototiller. Legit.
What do you use to pull that thing?
I'd probably need a big tractor.
That's what I mean. Like,
the 8330 or something.
you'd have to have something big to.
Oh yeah.
The PTO would have to be super beefy in order to use a rototiller
Beefy.
that size.
Yeah. Heinz bean sized
Oh, Heinz Beans PTO. I guarantee you Heinz makes a PTO somewhere.
They probably do.
And they sell it to England. They wouldn't do it in the United States, that's for sure.
So anyway, that's my
So we have something to fix, Christopher. And we made a bit of an oops.
it's called Snarf Corrections. We've had that segment before, haven't
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of Snarf corrections, actually, over the last 129 episodes.
Yes.
A lot of episodes. But it deals with Snarf Madness. And Snarf Madness, last episode we told everybody the winners, and we gave Alex a big round of applause, like, holy smokes, Alex wins another Snarf Madness, like second one out of 3.
Tim said Holler ran a rototiller the same width as his planter, probably still in your yard. Interestingly enough, that's the one I used to borrow, and it is not in my yard anymore. I don't know where it is. Nobody seems to know,
It just
including the person that owns it now.
That's strange.
Yeah, and I do think it was 20 foot because he had, I believe, an 8-row planter.
It would make sense.
And isn't that 20 feet?
Yes, 8 rows. That's 20 feet.
Yeah. So it was that big, and it didn't take that much horsepower to run.
It just seems like it would.
No, because we used to run it with the 4440.
You got that sitting out in the yard.
Yeah, it's hooked up.
Yeah.
Ready to roll. Brand new tires on the front.
Wow.
That's what I'm using to
You're
side
spending
dress.
some money.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Why? Do you,
$250 a tire.
that sucks. Seems expensive. Cheaper than the
I
rear
don't-
tires.
Not really.
It's not?
It's cheaper than the tires I put in my truck.
Yeah, it is. You got expensive tires. My gosh. I got to put new tires on the van. That van chews through tires, and it constantly gets flats. It's always got a nail.
You know what? When I had a van, I specifically requested and put on
Duratrax.
truck tires.
They don't make them that small.
Yes, they do. Like for an S10. I put on tires that were made for like a small truck, like
That's
a
what I need
Ranger.
to get because
Just head up and see my boy Kevin at Morris Tire and Alignment.
I just talked to Kevin today.
Tell him you want.
He's the one who told me.
Truck
He's
tires.
like, man, they don't make good tires for vans.
Yeah, I got him on there. Maybe you need to get yourself a Dirge Grand Caravan instead of some Chinese.
He literally told me on the phone, you need a truck tire for these type of vans. They just don't make them.
I used to get them all the time.
Yeah, I need a truck tire.
It was one off of a Ford Ranger or an S10.
Okay, I'll ask him because he gave me a quote for.
They don't last as long, but
He gave me a quote for some Goodyear tires that are supposed to last 85,000 miles, and he's like, they won't last that long
No.
on your van because it's heavy and they chew through tires. He's like, but it's the best tire you can get for a van. But for it's expensive for 4 tires and brakes and rotors all
but
around.
You could do that yourself.
I could. I'm just saying it's expensive either way. Rotors are expensive.
Not really.
Yeah, they are. They're always expensive.
They're like $70.
No, they're not. Rotors,
Yeah.
like brake pads, yes. Those you can get cheap. Rotors are not that cheap.
What year is your van?
A 2015 Honda Odyssey.
I'm gonna look them up.
Okay, please do. I'm going to talk about Snarf Madness real quick. I already started, and he rudely interrupted me. We told Alex he was the winner because we didn't know like the names on the brackets. There was no names on 2 of these brackets, and we had the assumption that the name on one of the brackets was Alex's because when I went back and looked in our emails, I looked at the emails from them or from Alex, and I had assumed the first one was from Alex. So we gave him all of the credit. He was my winner, and you're absolute last place loser. Turns out that's not the truth. It was Heather. Heather Jenkins won my bracket. She is the winner of Snarf Madness 2021.
Yay!
For Jerry's bracket, and she is the absolute worst loser for your bracket.
Yes, that's
like
right.
Disgusting, like
really
absolute horrific loser for your bracket. But she did great on mine. She won it. So she is the one that's going to get the gift card for Amazon. Alex is going to be forgotten.
Yeah, never to win again.
I mean, I don't see him sitting here. You know, he never comes back on the show. So
Yeah.
he's forgotten.
So Erica won mine and Heather won yours, and that means we have
A double female
the
winner.
future is female, Jerry.
Yeah. And we should invite either one of them on the show. I don't know why they don't come on.
Open invitation.
Erica, oh, I live in Florida. Well, fly back.
Come
It's
on.
not that hard. Southwest has really cheap flights.
Of course.
And they don't charge you for bags. It's not a big deal.
By the way, Duralast brake rotor for a 2015 Honda Odyssey, $66.99.
Really?
Yeah, or $75.99.
Buy me four.
Or if you want to go with Duralast Gold with higher carbon content for maximum heat dissipation, quieter braking, and longer life, that's $96.
Man, that's expensive.
It's really not in the grand scheme of things. How often do you replace brake rotors? Every 5 years or so?
I own the van, so I'm only probably going to do it one more time.
Yeah.
Like this time is the only time I'm going to do it. But either way, that's $400.
So my
That's $400 for just the rotors, and then you got to figure what, $250 for the brake pads.
my 2005 Ford F650 delivery truck goes through a set of rotors every single year.
Why?
And last year it didn't even make it. It made it to November, and the rotor actually wore away to nothing.
How is that possible?
It wore to nothing, Jerry.
You're buying very cheap rotors,
No, I mean you can only get the
like one style. Of
yeah.
rotor.
There's one rotor
Yeah.
for that, and they're huge. And I think it's a operator.
I was gonna say,
Error.
like, there's some serious braking going on.
There is some serious braking.
Like,
I mean,
hard.
it only lives in stop and go traffic,
Yeah, that's rough.
but
That is rough when you're going up to Chicago or the city a lot, and you've got a full load of trees.
25,000 pounds.
Yeah, of trees, and you're stopping and going and stopping and going. I'm surprised that engine hasn't blown.
Just had it rebuilt.
Well, that's sad.
Well, not rebuilt. I had an overhead job done on it.
I don't know what that means. Sounds
Just like adjusting the valves and
sounds like something you'd
valve clearances.
look from above on.
Yes, overhead.
Overhead, yeah.
That truck is tired, Jerry.
Is it
It's
really?
tired. It's every year it looks at me and it's like, I've paid my dues, man.
Oh, it's like someone kill me now. Every year it looks at you like, put me down, Chris. Please put me down.
When's it gonna be my time
It's my time now.
to retire?
Daddy, it's my time.
Put me out to pasture.
Please let me go, Daddy.
You can't find trucks like that anymore. They don't make a lot of those.
You can. It's called Ritchie Brothers.
No, they don't make. You can buy like a new F650. They're surprisingly not that expensive.
Really?
They're like,
$2,500.
yeah. Well, you
Seems
would think a
cheap.
truck that
Seems
size,
cheap.
you would expect, oh fuck, that's gonna be $100,000. You can get it for like $60,000, which is about the cost of a pickup truck.
Wow, yeah.
these
Your
days.
truck would cost that now.
I don't know. I didn't pay that much for it.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like now, right now, your truck would cost that.
No, I don't think
A
so.
new one? Yes, it would.
No, mine's a bare bones, man. Gas motor.
I understand. Bare bones trucks are expensive.
I don't know. My truck was involved in a head-on collision,
Ooh. Well, rear end
a
collision.
rear end collision. So
Well, it was head on for your truck, rear end for the
a
other
semi truck.
Semi. Yeah.
So I was not the set operator of that vehicle at the time, but
I'm sorry about that.
it's fine.
Dirk said more downshifting. He's correct. They need to downshift more on an automatic vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, it's an automatic, so
That's the bad part about it.
just do what you do.
I guess you're just going to buy rotors.
Just buy rotors, man.
Well, either way, I'm not buying rotors. Or I don't want to buy rotors, I should say.
Anyway,
Next,
Snarf correction complete.
Yeah. Heather-
Future is female. They win and they dominate Snarf Madness 2021.
They did.
And they will both be getting $50 gift cards, of which they're not allowed to share with their significant others.
no.
In the case
you
of
cannot
Heather.
buy anything for Alex. And Erica, you could not buy anything for your significant other. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. Next thing I wanted to talk about. This isn't big news. This isn't anything.
Is this a spring stretcher?
Oh, it's kind of a spring stretcher.
Because I have a spring stretcher too, after you're done.
Okay. I guess
This brings about the spring stretcher segment
Yeah,
of
it's-
Snarf Talk Podcast.
Yeah, Snarf spring stretchers. And it's like, if you don't know about this, it's like what grinds my gears or what like makes me mad. What stretches my springs, okay? And my springs are stretched by people that enjoy rhubarb. Do you like rhubarb? Do
Actually, no, I don't.
no, nobody should.
But my grandma had a rhubarb patch, and she always used to make rhubarb pie.
Yeah.
And everybody would go crazy over it.
It's not good.
But I never like it's. I mean, a rhubarb pie is basically a little bit of rhubarb and pounds of sugar.
Yes, listen, that's what I was going to get into. Everybody's always, oh, I love rhubarb, strawberry rhubarb pie. And oh, my grandma's, it's always my grandma's. I've never heard anybody say, like, I make a strawberry rhubarb pie or a just rhubarb pie. Nobody makes it anymore because nobody needs it in their life. Your grandma's made it because they had to have something, right? Like, it
Dirk
a
was
different
hoping for
time.
this spring stretcher, and now his life is being shattered.
Well, listen up, Dirk, because
Dirk, I can guarantee you, is a rhubarb guy.
it seems like he would be. Amy loves rhubarb. She loves rhubarb pie because guess what? Her grandma made a rhubarb that was great. Like a rhubarb pie that was great. I've had rhubarb pie. I've had strawberry rhubarb pie, and it's all horrendous. You add cups and cups and cups of sugar to this red celery. That's what it is.
It is.
It's a red celery, and celery's terrible. I don't like that. I
It's a
will cook.
superfood.
I do cook with it. It's a good aromatic. Rhubarb's not a good aromatic. It's just a bitter, shitty plant that nobody wants. It's a weed. Has a huge leaf and got a red green stalk, and you cut majority of the stalk off and leaf off, and you're left with this little like 5-inch piece of rhubarb, right? And everybody's like, oh yeah, let's chop this rhubarb up and put it in a bowl. You put it in a bowl. I've watched my grandma do it. Put it in a bowl, and then you just add cups and cups of sugar, pounds of sugar, to make sure that you don't taste the rhubarb. That's the whole idea. We're going to put this vegetable in a pie, but we're going to make sure you don't ever taste it. It's just the filling, and we're going to make it like, we're going to cook it down long enough to make it this gelatinous goo. And everybody says, oh, I love rhubarb.
Dirk said, oh, go put your butter back in the fridge.
No, I've been keeping it out. And my butter dish, it works a lot better in this spring and summer, turns out. Keeps it softer. I haven't had a butter issue in a long time. Listen, Dirk, if you go outside and you're going to rip off a nice piece of rhubarb and chew on it, I'd love to see a video of that, because not a single human being
Isn't it?
that isn't starving
You can't
to
eat
death.
it raw, right? It's poisonous, isn't it?
I don't. Well, that sounds even more dumb.
Isn't it a nightshade or something?
It's not a nightshade.
No, it's not. But there's something to deal. Like if you eat the wrong part of a rhubarb plant or something. Am I wrong about that?
I think you are. It's just terribly bitter and gross. It doesn't taste good. That's the problem with it. And it is like celery in the fact that it has those strings. Like, you got to pull all the strings out of it.
Rhubarb leaves contain high amounts of oxalic acid, which can cause health problems when eaten in higher amounts. Symptoms of toxicity include mild gastrointestinal symptoms, as well as serious problems such as kidney stones and kidney failure. Jeez.
Okay.
Don't
So
eat rhubarb
don't
leaves.
eat rhubarb.
The stalks are totally safe to eat, though.
It blow. Well, yeah, okay. The leaves do that, but everybody eats the stalk.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it's terrible. I just don't know why people like it. I mean, I like pie. I like all kinds of pie. All pie is sweet, but normally it's sweetened by a fruit that you enjoy. You would enjoy to eat it on its own, like peach or apple, like a lemon meringue.
Oh, I love lemon meringue.
Who doesn't? Key lime.
Love it. It's my favorite.
Like most people enjoy all of
Key
these
lime
things.
pie. Love it.
Key lime's not one of my favorites, but I will eat every piece you put in front of me. Because guess what? It's meant to be eaten like that. Rhubarb is meant to be eaten by deer. You put it out to have deer come around, and you can watch the deer eat that bitter shit plant. Like, it's awful. Oh, I get more aggravated as I talk about it.
Purposely requesting rhubarb pie for my birthday dinner dessert this weekend just to stretch Cherry Springs to the point of breaking.
Oh, my gosh. They are stretched beyond compare.
But happy birthday, nonetheless.
Yes. Happy birthday, Nolan. He is checking 34 years old. He's
34.
the same age as me.
Wow.
Wow. I'm older, actually. I turned 34 last month. So, young buck,
A young buck.
as they say. A young buck that likes to eat that shit rhubarb out of the field.
Well, that's a good spring stretcher, I guess. Rhubarb cake, rhubarb sauce on ice cream. I don't know about any of that, but
No,
I find
nobody
it,
does that.
I find it tart myself, but a bit tart.
It is tart. It's very tart.
Sorry, I'm adjusting levels here. I think we're redlining, so.
It's absolute junk.
And by redlining, we're gonna have a whole new setup come next week, guys.
By the by,
Super exciting. We got a Roadcaster Pro
we do
with
Roadcaster Pro. I've wanted
automatic leveling of gain, right?
Yeah, it does
Automatic
everything.
gain leveling.
You set your
Set it
microphones
and forget it.
And yes, it's like the rotisserie, or what is that? Set it and forget it.
I don't know.
It was a rotisserie that you had on your countertop. It was in an infomercial. Set it and forget it.
Yeah, it was Showtime Rotisserie and Barbecue.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Dude,
all the
I
time.
want one of those. It
My
looks
grandparents
amazing.
bought one.
It was a Ronco.
It's not that great.
Oh, really?
No, I mean,
It looks like a toaster oven that spins.
it did just fine for one
Do you ever
chicken.
notice how all infomercial cooking products are toaster ovens of some degree?
It's all convection.
Yeah. I mean, we have an air fryer. There's two kinds of people in the world, people that live and die by air fryers and people that don't. It's all we cook with generally.
I've never had one. I have a convection oven, and it does the same thing.
That's fine.
The only problem,
We
and
cook
the reason
basically everything in that air fryer, and it is just a convection oven. I completely
is.
understand that, but it's so damn convenient. And I got like the biggest one they make, so
That's
you
what I
can
was
actually
gonna
put a
say.
ton of food in it.
So that's what I was gonna say is like the difference is your convection oven that sits on top of your countertop heats up a hell of a lot quicker than
Very
my
fast, yeah.
convection oven. It takes forever. I don't know what it is. I think it's an LP thing.
I don't know.
It takes forever.
Love that thing though.
I like it. I like convection.
But Jerry, I also have a spring stretcher.
I would love to know
I
because
just-
you never do.
I never do.
You hate everything, but you never have a spring
No, I
stretcher.
don't. I don't.
Oh, you do.
I can't. And this is going back to ag.
Ag in the classroom?
No, it's going back to the agricultural world.
Okay.
I cannot deal with ag social media anymore. Specifically Facebook.
Okay. How so? Please tell.
So over the last years, I've joined lots of different ag groups, like to look out for equipment or different things that I might want to purchase or get some ideas. And there are several that I'm following. The one that just jumps out first, because they're all annoying, but the one that jumps out to me first is a group called Spray Kings.
Oh, I've never been on this one.
And it's like a group for people that spray.
You know what's real bad? Farm hats.
Oh, yeah.
Don't go on that one.
Spray Kings. This one I just can't. I can't deal with it anymore. It's basically just pictures of people or it's basically just pictures of people that put like the blue LED lights on their sprayer booms,
Oh, that shit's hot.
or squirt Dawn dish soap into their spray tanks.
That's a surfactant.
It's to apparently
Isn't that what it is?
apparently the reason why they do it is so that atrazine is like concrete basically.
Yeah.
And it settles out and it like plugs the strainers and all kinds of things.
It won't stick to anything.
And and it's always like pictures of people's like gigantic setups and like look at my tender trailer that I built and like my $5 million sprayer that I got. I
$5 million.
I just can't deal with it anymore. And it's not just that group. It's every single ag group that's on Facebook because it's 100% this unbelievably expensive, ridiculous equipment.
So it's basically like a, how do I say this appropriately? Like a wiener measuring contest.
Yes, that is what all Facebook ag groups are. And it's always like, it's like you can just tell when people work on farms or work for co-ops,
Yes.
but aren't farmers necessarily.
They're not farming at all. And
And-
also, you can get a picture from anywhere on the internet and post it anywhere on the internet you want.
Well, I don't think that's what's going on.
You could do that though.
Well,
And
yeah.
people do that. I guarantee you people do that. There's a guy that probably doesn't work for a co-op and went to a co-op and took a picture of their sprayer and was like, yeah, spraying with this rig today. I guarantee you that happens
I
on
don't know.
all of
It's
those
just-
sites.
And I don't want to come across as like jealous.
You're not a BTO.
I'm not a BTO, and that's fine. It's just obnoxious. It's gotten to the point where everybody that's posting these things on there is obnoxious, and you can see it in the comments because people are constantly making hilarious little quips in the comments.
Ooh, Quickie Quickerson with his quick quips.
Yeah. Dirk said, my sprayer costs as much as the tires on their sprayer. So it's really funny. I had this, I've been looking at this well-used sprayer. Mine also is a very, very cheap sprayer.
Yeah.
Like as cheap as you could
Oh,
possibly
yeah,
buy
as
a
cheap as
sprayer.
you can get.
Worst.
But
But I've been looking at this like well-used one to get. So I've been asking around, and I called this guy up in Canada that makes a lift kit for it because
Canada,
I want to be able to spray corn. Tall corn.
Quebec, Ontario, British Columbia.
London, Ontario, actually, is where he's from.
I knew it was Ontario.
So I talked to him. He's like, yeah, you buy this lift kit, and it'll give you 5 inches. I'm like, great.
I need that.
But I need like a lot more than 5 inches. He goes, yeah. But here's what you do. You buy this set of tires, and it gives you another 5 inches. I mean, like a new set of tires and rims for a sprayer. And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's only about $15,000. And I'm just like, let's end this conversation here.
whoa.
That's more than I paid for my current sprayer.
I'm not doing any of that.
Now you want me to buy $15,000 worth of tires just to get 5 inches of clearance?
And I still need your equipment, which is going to cost X amount of dollars, to get me the other 5 inches that I need. Oh, boy. So how many inches do you need to get above your corn now? I thought you could spray with the sprayer you have.
I can. I have a John Deere 6000, 1988 John Deere 6000 three-wheeler,
Yeah.
Trike.
That's a trike, yeah.
It's got converted. It does have larger tires in the back. We put 6,500 tires on it
Okay.
to give it a little more oomph.
Yeah.
And it's actually taller than my 6,500, which is a four-wheeler, so that doesn't even work. It wouldn't even work to begin with. But
That was Gary's, wasn't it?
yeah. It has 78 inches of clearance.
That's 6 feet.
Yeah. More than 6 feet, right?
No.
Is it 72? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, 6'6".
Yeah, it's quite a bit. And this sprayer, which is a John Deere 4720, with the lift kit.
Wait, you got a different sprayer?
No, the one I've been looking at.
Oh,
with the lift kit and with the $15,000 bigger tires, is only 70 inches of clearance. Or
Well, that's
70.
stupid. I mean, that doesn't make
And it's
sense.
still... That's
Why
what I
would
mean.
you get?
I'm like,
Why would you even get that? I don't like the 40. What is it? 4720. What's the base height of that without the
60,
tires?
I think. 60 inches.
So you're 18 inches higher than that with the sprayer you have now.
The 1988. Yeah.
Okay, don't get that. Then what you need to do is look at a different sprayer. That's taller than that.
There aren't that many. There isn't a lot.
They make a lot off the showroom that are bigger than that.
Yeah,
get the
a
biggest
lot of $500,000 sprayers.
Get the biggest Hagie they make.
I'm gonna get a Hagie, but they're only still about 70 inches.
No. They get higher than that.
The big boys. Oh yeah, the big boys do.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you to get.
Yep.
I mean, just pull out that pocketbook, Chris. It's not hard to do.
Anyway, my point is, it has nothing to do with expensive equipment or big equipment. It just has to do with people that are posting shit just to showboat on Facebook, and it's obnoxious.
Listen, it's the same as like the whole stay-at-home mom game. Like, there's a whole stay-at-home mom game that does the same thing. It's the same thing.
What
it's
is
the same
that?
game?
What is the stay-at-home mom game?
Oh man, they post pictures to show like how great their life is, or like
Oh yeah, that's the problem with social media.
I work out all the time, and I have perfect children that never make a mess in my house, and my house looks perfect, and my husband comes home and we do the greatest things on the weekend, and we like to ride motorcycles, like crazy things like that nobody does in their lives. Like, nobody does these things in their lives, and everyone is miserable, but those people aren't miserable ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, I'm not saying everybody's miserable all the time. I'm saying people get aggravated and are miserable at some point in their life, right? These moms that make social media their game are never that way. They're always perfect. And it is destroying America. It destroys every other person in America that can't live up to that status. Because nobody can live up to that status.
Because it's fake.
Because it's 100% fake. It's created. It's a character. I mean, some aspects of what they put on Facebook or whatever, Instagram or whatever, may be true. But the curation of what they put on social media is just destroying people that are trying to come up. Like, think about like a single mom, right? A single mom that's just trying to like be the best that she can. And she gets on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat, and she sees some friends or people that she don't even know. And she's looking at what they do. And it looks like they have tons of money and they can do whatever they want. And they just shoving their face with donuts, but yet they're still 120 pounds. She's like, I ate like a can of Campbell's soup yesterday and I gained 4 pounds. This lady's eating 6 donuts in the morning and having a steak at night, and I can't keep up. And then she's got all these flowers planted, and her house looks great, and her kids are clean. My kids look like little cave animals. Like, it's a problem. Like, that's a real problem that affect people that don't understand that it's a game.
Yeah.
Like, it's a complete game.
You got really heavy with this, but you're right.
I know.
It's a problem.
And I was talking about farm stuff. Like, it's the same with farm stuff, but it is a huge problem. Anything on social media is completely fake. Do not believe the majority of it. The people that you are close with, yes. I mean, you know their lives because you're already close with them. But the people that you're not close with, that you're just friends on social media stuff, I've got a bunch of friends on social media that I never speak to, and I literally avoid. If I see them in Walmart or wherever, if I'm out and about, like, I will literally make my way around because I just don't want to have the conversation. It's not because I don't like them. It's just because it's like, we don't actually know each other well enough to have this conversation. Like, right. Awkward. Oh, hi. Yeah. Saw your post. Don't care. I don't want to do that. So those people, like, quit worrying about what they post or quit worrying about what their life looks like because it's fake, most likely. And I post things all the time that are fake. Like, I post things that are a joke, like 100% a joke.
Well, it doesn't even have to be that you're doing it on purpose. You're only going to post stuff that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't
like, you're
take
gonna
video of me and Amy having an argument. Like, listen to this shit. Like, I don't nobody does that. And if you do, well, that's sick.
You got a real problem.
Stop that right away, because you're gonna get divorced right away if you're married. But yeah, you're right. People don't post things that are terrible unless they're seeking attention.
Unless they're attention seeking.
Yeah,
that's a problem too, though. People that are everything's always
there's
terrible
two sides. There's
because
no
they
middle
need that
ground.
attention. Yeah, you're right.
There
is middle ground.
The middle ground are the people that you know, that you're friends with, that you already know what's going on in their lives, and it's, you just know what you're getting with certain people. But then, yeah, like I said, there's other people that run rampant on social media that are starved for attention and want you to either love them or feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
It's like those two. Those are the two that you see all the time.
We just really need to get rid of
really
the social
annoying.
media as
I agree.
we put a podcast on social media.
I know. It's not the same thing, though. I want you to love me. I want everyone to love me.
No, it's difficult because I would 100% get rid of it if not for the fact that we do a ton of marketing on it. Not just for our podcast, but for my business and for all of my businesses. And it's a very helpful tool, and it is a method of creating a community around something that is very helpful. I
do still see more positive in social media than I can see negative. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like
There's definitely not more positive than negative.
No.
For you, maybe, but in the general sense,
I completely agree.
There's way more negative.
You're right. I'm
it's
saying
destroying our country.
For what I want and what I need and what I get out of it, I see more positive than negative because that's what I choose to see and that's what I choose to do. Like what we do on social media and what I choose to look at on social media is way more positive. Like, of course, you stumble upon things that are like, it's super annoying. Like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, but you're well adjusted, so you can make that decision. A lot of people can't.
No, you're exactly right. I don't think social media is good for anyone. I don't. I do believe it should be gone. Like, just erase it from existence. Like, as if we never even knew it existed.
Isn't it so weird?
But that it will never happen.
But isn't it? You ever think about this? That it's so much intertwined with our lives right now. It's hard to even remember that it wasn't there not that long ago.
I do remember, and the only reason I remember times without it, I guess this is a portion of time, like when it was first starting, but it was when I was deployed. I used MSN Messenger to talk to Amy.
Yeah, but that's just a chat app.
Right. But that was the only thing. Like Facebook was around, but it wasn't
a big deal.
Like we couldn't really access each other that way. So at that point, social media wasn't a thing to me at all.
I know, but my point is that
But that was 15 years ago.
If you
choose
to not use social media, I know a lot of people that just refuse to use it.
Yep, I do too.
It doesn't matter that you choose to not use it. That's great for you. But it's affecting everybody around you. Whether you choose to use it or not, it's still affecting you.
And
because it
still affects you because
the people around you.
Right.
And it's affecting the way they're interacting and they're thinking about things and they're talking and there's discussions that are happening. And you might sit there and say like, well, I refuse to participate and I don't care. Fine. But that's partly just saying like, I refuse to live in the real world.
Right.
Because
that
the real world, and that is happening, and it's happening all around you, and it's affecting the way people
live their entire lives. It affects everyone on how they live their entire life. And it may not affect you and I on how we live our lives, but there are so many people that are just a little bit more vulnerable or a little bit more, I don't know, like just
not able to critically think the same way that
or persuaded easier. Yeah. You know, like they don't want to believe what's happening in their life, or they don't want to accept what's happening in their life. So therefore, when they look upon a media like of people that they may trust, like people literally build trust in someone that their view on YouTube or Instagram, like if you can watch a YouTube channel over and over and over again, and you can feel like you get to know somebody. TikTok, you can watch TikTok and you feel like you get to know these people because of the video content that they put out, because they regularly put something out.
Is that anything different than what we're doing?
I mean, no, I guess not. I mean, we the only thing is like we have one show where we talk about things. TikTok and YouTube, you're creating videos to appease people in a way. Like there are channels that are literally meant to do one thing. And it's like, if it's fashion or makeup or whatever it is, you can sway people to think a certain way, regardless of you living that way or not.
So Dirk just said, I feel like I know you, Jerry. And he does, because of the amount of time listening to the podcast, interacting on the podcast. So
in a real way, yes, but I'm saying there are channels out there that are completely fake. They live a completely fake life.
I understand.
For their
so what
YouTube
you're saying
channel.
is
they're creating a character that people love that they are not in their real life.
So to me, this is one of the greatest benefits to podcasts and things like that we have of social media that we have access to now. Like, you're able to build a community about whatever, about this podcast, about a charity organization, about a club, about a Spray Kings, where you post video, a community of people that have blue light sprayers and put Dawn dish soap in their atrazine tanks. So, I mean, that's a good thing that you're able to create a community around something. And it's a good thing that we're able to have a 2-hour show where we're talking to each other and other people are interacting, and like Dirk, and he says, I feel like I know you. You feel like you know him in a way that wouldn't have ever happened before.
I literally know nothing about Dirk besides his name is Dirk and what you've told me.
Right. But you get my point.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing. What you're saying is there's positives and negatives, and the negatives are there are people that will abuse that system to be fake.
Yes. They're
creating stuff literally
image.
for clicks. Mm-hmm. And by creating something for clicks, you're creating
I think the majority of YouTube, like the big
it's the same issue
YouTube
with the
people,
media, right? It's the same issue with the headline media. Like,
yes.
So
it is a bit.
We got to address some of this stuff, though. Dirk says, new homework, post the next fight with your spouse.
Yeah, that's what made me smile. I was just smiling at that.
Listen.
Because that is something.
I love it.
I would love
That's
to do.
real life, though.
No, I would love to do that.
There is a lot.
But it may be too personal.
There is a lot of fights with spouses, and I think everybody's in that same situation, but there's a lot of people that pretend like it doesn't happen.
Oh, no. I mean, it happens all the time. I would love to be able to record that and it not be forced, because I feel like I'd be like, all right, I'm ready for a fight. And then I'd get ready and like put a phone up or cameras around and then force the fight about something I wanted to talk about just so that you guys could see it. But that's not real. Like that's not a real fight. A real fight would be probably too personal for me to
It's so
put on.
Fights with spouses it's such a weird thing, right? We talked about it the other night.
It's not that weird.
It is, though, because
Why?
There's dynamics to it, right?
Well, of course there is. There's two sides of it, and you both have
So me and you had this discussion the other night at baseball. Me and Marley were in a fight.
Yeah.
Monday, and I said to you, yeah, it's just been a shitty day. We're in this like long running fight. It was a miserable day, and like, what did I tell you? I'm like, I was being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like I was being an asshole.
You did say that. Yeah.
But I also feel like I was goaded in certain ways. But I took that and like pushed it way over the edge of what's acceptable.
Right. You knew that you were at fault for a lot of what was going on.
Yes.
But it was also like because of the situation that could have been avoided.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's weird how there's a dynamic there, and then like nobody wants to back down, or then like everybody ends up backing down.
So the fault is shared in most arguments. Most not all, but most arguments, the fault is shared at some point, at some level, right? Like it may start here and it's their fault, but then you do something because of what they've done,
right,
that then shares the fault. And then it just keeps
Teeter-tottering,
elevating. Yeah,
yes.
It goes back and forth like a ladder from there on out. I am always at fault for something happening that makes me real angry or aggravated, and then I will always send a passive-aggressive text.
Oh, I do that too.
I am terrible at passive-aggressive texts that need to stop. I can't stop myself, though, because if we're not I can't stop myself from speaking. Like I talk a lot all the time, and I need to stop myself from speaking. My problem is like if somebody's not around me that I want to argue with, I'm going to then have this ability for media and text them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, oh, I'll get my point across now because you're going to know how I'm aggravated, but yet I'm doing more work than you. And then I send that text, and it's always a failure. It makes me look like an idiot.
Dirk said he's having one right now. Hey, that sucks. If I were you, I would just stop.
Have you introduced her to Snarf Talk? Or him, or whoever you're having an argument with?
So passive-aggressive texts are definitely a problem for me. The other problem for me is that I feel like in most circumstances, I'm a really good arguer. So I'm able to manipulate an argument, and like there's always a point where you recognize that either A, you're at fault, but you see the doorway out of it.
Right. Right. So then you just start striving for that door, reaching for that door. Like I can get there.
Yeah.
Somehow I can get there. My biggest...
And it's manipulative.
Here's the dynamic between Amy and I. Amy is very reserved and kept to herself. And even during arguments, this is the way she is. And I am way too outspoken and way too forward. And I'm aggressive in conversation most of the time and in arguments. So I just constantly... just barrage. No, like if we're in the midst of an argument, I'm not necessarily needling. I'm just starving for information. Like I want to know what you're mad about. I want to know why you hate whatever I'm doing or are
so you can
aggravated.
refute it.
So but
that's why. So you can
you.
refute it.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the problem.
That is exactly it.
That's what I do.
But I can't stop speaking. So I just constantly like barrage with whatever I want to talk about. And then I'll sit there and I'll wait and I'll be like ready to go. Waiting. And you still don't say anything. Because Amy won't. Like she will literally not speak during an argument and just wait. And then she'll just say like one thing.
But that's infuriating to you.
Oh my gosh, is it so infuriating? And then that's when I just start like a barrage of what I want to say again. And then I wait. And it's thought process though. Like my thought process, I'm like an ADD kind of person, you know, like I'm just very fast and want to speak. Amy is very reserved, like I said before, but she's thinking through and like putting together her thoughts to say something that is very concise, smart, better than what I'm going to say, and like factual. I throw out like what ifs and well, if you had done this.
Oh, I don't do that.
I do it all the time.
I
just like.
I'm probably more like Amy then.
Oh, I'm like.
Respect.
It's like word soup. I just blow out.
I'm
everything.
always trying to find like the logic.
I am not a logical person.
And that's infuriating to some people.
It's very infuriating to me. I can't handle it. Like I understand.
I'm always thinking through like if A then B, like the logical progression of things.
Amy's already got the answer before I've ever said it. And it's sucks.
Dirk said, once you commit, you got to see it through. There's a certain aspect to that. I mean, there is. And